Hey folks, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look and a quick review of the SoundBot SB1025. This is a Bluetooth speaker with FM radio and alarm clock functionality that sells for around $80 on Amazon and through SoundBot's website. So this week we're checking out quite a few SoundBot products because they reached out in the past and they're coming out with, again, a kind of a refreshed lineup of all sorts of smart home products. So this is one of them. It has a kind of classy wood design, which is fairly in line with 2016-2017 products. We kind of want that natural look, and there's an LED light on the front that displays the time information. It's a mono speaker, but it does get fairly loud, and we'll do a sound test in a moment. Again, it has that FM radio, which is pretty cool, and it supports a micro SD card in addition to a 3.5mm auxiliary cable for plugging into an MP3 player or into a phone if you don't want to use Bluetooth for wireless music playback. It is fairly compact as well. It's not too large as far as being an alarm clock, and again, you have some of those basic features reiterated through the packaging here. Top houses all the controls and an oversized snooze key for the alarm, and that's essentially it. So before we launch into a bit more about the performance and design, the contents of the packaging include a thank you card, there's some basic warranty information, and an instruction manual that's pretty well documented that tells you how to control the music and access the various features. There's also the auxiliary cable for plugging it into an MP3 player without using Bluetooth. And there is a power cable which uses micro USB. So I love how this uses a standard power source, for power instead of something proprietary that you have to plug in and maybe lose if you're moving things around. There is a protective film, it looks like, on the surface. And indeed, this is kind of a plastic glossy material that is highly reflective. It looks quite elegant, especially in contrast with the wood that they're using on the top here. And it hides the LED lights or the display when it's not turned on, which is pretty cool. One downside is it does scratch and attract smudges and dust fairly easily, so that's something to keep in mind. Otherwise, the speaker grill is made out of aluminum. The top indeed houses all the controls in terms of power, setting up the time for the very first alarm and time, in addition to skip tracks for your music. There's some basic info over here for, again, playing, pausing your music, setting up the alarm, turning it on or off, snooze. This key feels pretty tactile and responsive, and this is overall, with the design. The back features just a panel for on-off, micro SD card, micro USB, and the auxiliary input. Bottom features rubber feet that prevents the unit from sliding around on a surface or a desk. So in terms of dimensions and size, overall it's not too bad. It's actually fairly portable and again, pretty attractive in my opinion. So here is a standard kind of 5-inch phone, so you get a nicer perspective of how large it looks. It doesn't feature anything like Qi wireless charging or anything fancy to dock your phone, however, so it can't actually charge your smartphone. That's one feature that's missing, but it does have that Bluetooth speaker, so you can technically play back music from your phone. So that's something to really quickly keep in mind. So let's take a closer look at the features next. After being plugged into power, you can see that Bluetooth mode will be on automatically. You can tap on the power/mode key in the top if you want to turn that function off or cycle through something like FM radio. But it's going to be blinking when it's in the pairing mode, and afterwards you just need to find it with your phone, and then it just pairs within 30 seconds. So it's pretty good. Bluetooth range using 4.0 is roughly 10 meters or 33 feet, and since this is an alarm clock, you'll be within the room, and then the sound quality sounds actually pretty good. Even though it's a mono speaker and not stereo speaker, it packs quite a bit of sound and volume. It's best suited for music listening as opposed to watching back movies. That's just because stereo speakers are a bit more dynamic in terms of how it can create kind of this 3D effect if you are watching films, with things moving around you. But this works well enough for playing back, again, music for casual listening. Otherwise, it does get quite loud. We're going to do a quick sample of the speaker quality now. So the takeaway from the sound quality test there is that there's more bass than I really expected. Since I can't see a passive radiator, at least not on the back of the unit, I expected the bass to be much more tinny, but you can hear that there's actually quite a bit of thump in the lower frequencies that comes across prominently in EDM music, as well as maybe classical music. So if you are a bass head, you'll really be pleased with the sound here. It fills up spaces quite well. In that test, we were only roughly at 40% volume, and you can see that volume can be controlled both on the device and through the phone. Playing and pausing, there's a split-second delay as you saw there, but all in all, it works actually quite well for playing back music, which is quite surprising. So you get a very, very good Bluetooth speaker as part of the package deal here. So if we go into some of the other features next, again, you have access just to the time information. There's going to be kind of a bar that flashes that tells you a bit more of an indication that, again, it's running. And here I can tap on time again to go through and kind of program the time, set it up for the first time. You can long press or long hold. When it comes to the alarm clock functionality, you can tap snooze and I will snooze it for 5 minutes. After you've tapped on snooze for 3 times, the alarm will turn off automatically. Alternatively, you can long hold on snooze for extended period of time to turn the alarm off completely. So some basic ways of handling the unit. Talking about the FM radio now for a second, let's just go through kind of mode here. And if we tap on this again, it's going to enter the FM radio. So let's again turn the volume down. And we can find a channel just by long pressing for a few seconds.
My tone
and then continue holding there until it scrubs and locates a good enough channel automatically. So alright, so kind of pausing that now. At least in the kind of San Francisco region, reception seemed to be decent. I would say that it's a little bit weaker compared to other alarm clocks that I've seen with FM radios that have an extended antenna that you can place closer to a window or something like that. Since this is really integrated, it's harder for it to pass through multiple levels of walls. But all in all, you still get a fair selection of channels, including music and news that you can listen to. And again, the speaker does help since it packs quite a punch in terms of the volume. In terms of the alarm clock function, again, the speaker gets very loud, so you definitely will wake up in the morning. It doesn't give you other sources of stimulation, such as light, so it's not a wake-up alarm. You can only get a few pre-programmed chimes for the alarm, so it's just a very simple beeping sound. You can't get any nature sounds or use the phone as the wake-up sound, so that's something to keep in mind. It's not necessarily a smart alarm clock since it doesn't connect to the internet. It doesn't do tons of fancy tricks, but it's just a very straightforward and to the point alarm clock that does what it does quite well, and that includes actually a surprisingly good speaker, at least for the size and considering the fact that it's mono. So if you are looking for a fairly elegant looking wood alarm clock that functions very well, and you are looking for one with a Bluetooth speaker integrated, this is actually a pretty decent choice. You can check out more details in our upcoming written review, but for now this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This was the SoundBot SB1025 alarm clock.